What if I told you then confidence has nothing to do with being ready and everything to do with doing it scared? I quit my first real job. I moved across the world. I healed my body and my mind, and I did it terrified. That's how confidence actually happens. So if you've ever wondered how to stop overthinking, how to make bold changes without falling apart, or how to build real confidence, here's how. Most people have it backwards. Confidence is the output. Courage is the input. People tell me, Marty, you just go and live life how you want to, but I just can't. I'm just not confident enough. And I get it. I listened for days to motivational speeches under the shower. Take massive action. Don't settle. Stay hungry. And some days I was pumped up, full of motivation, my business plan, meditations, deep work. And I couldn't do it. My laptop was full of presentations and offers. I had a finished website, but I just don't have the confidence like those bigger speakers. Because confidence doesn't come from motivation. Confidence comes from competence, and competence comes from courage, the willingness to act even in fear. So I'll give you an example. When I resigned my only real job, I didn't magically become a successful entrepreneur overnight. Not at all. I had huge fears about unemployment. I hated myself for it. And right after quitting, I started applying for jobs again and again and again. And after 6 months, I had nothing to show for it. Not even a single interview. Am I too stupid? Did I study for nothing? And that fear grew into anxiety and depression. Out of helplessness, I went to a state-funded job coaching. And this coach said, "Why don't you start your own business?" What? What? I actually did a positive psychology consultant training and afterwards my systemic coaching qualification. And not a single person in these courses planned full self-employment. And here I was, unemployed, broke on state support, and supposed to start a business. But something in me was curious. This didn't feel like avoidance. This felt like approach. I was moving towards something, not just away from fear like those job applications. But still, I was terrified because I didn't know anyone who went that route. So as a further small step, I enrolled in an entrepreneurship course for unemployed women, a safe space, female teachers who already made it in their fields, and other anxious women with crazy ideas. And there I learned the boring but crucial stuff, taxes, marketing, laws, and I literally practiced saying, my business, my offers, my clients out loud. And at first I felt like dying in shame. But slowly, with every tiny courageous step, competence grew. And then I went to meetups. I surrounded myself with other entrepreneurs. And one day I could say with confidence, I have my own business. And that was 7 years ago. Slowly, competence stacked up and confidence followed. So when COVID hit and I lost all my clients, those motivational speeches didn't help. But I had the evidence. If I act courageously, I'll evolve. And that's what keeps me in business to this day, no matter the circumstances. And here's the thing. Courage doesn't discriminate. Confidence doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care about where you've come from. It doesn't care about your circumstances. All it cares about is that you are willing to go through the fear. So when you look at people and think, how can they be so confident? They also had a rough childhood and even worse circumstances, but their life seems so easy. There is no secret. They have simply done the work that you haven't yet. And that's it. You have to make it happen. You have to put it into existence. The problem is your brain doesn't like uncertainty. So if you've never done something before, it says, I don't know what could happen. Let's first make you scared, because if you're scared, you'll avoid it. And if you avoid it, you won't die. That's a win, right? That's survival instinct. And survival instinct won't make you successful. And the reason is our brain are wired with two systems. The behavioral inhibition system, hippocampus and parts of the brainstem, constantly scanning for danger. That's the voice saying, don't risk it, you'll embarrass yourself. And the behavioral activation system, our pleasure and reward centers. The voice saying, whoa, let's do that. Whoa, that goal excites me, let's go. And those two are separate. Courage is what happens when you can quiet down the inhibition system just enough and boost the activation system just enough to take one step. Not a giant leap, just one step. And that's evidence for your brain. You acted and you didn't die. We can do that again. And confidence only comes afterwards. When I left home for university, I had to learn that the hard way. I had no support from my family, just a little student loan. And coming from Lithuania, I always heard, we are so poor. The Germans are rich, they have house, they have car, but money isn't for us. And I was terrified of not having enough money to survive, no matter what the reality was. But then I saw some German students traveling the world during semester breaks, and they weren't rich as far as I know. And my dream still was Japan, the most expensive country that I could imagine back then. So at 19, I became self-employed on the side. Promotion jobs, standing around and smiling at events, one time even handing out chocolate dressed as a Christmas angel. And on top of that, I also worked as a research assistant and signed up for every psychology experiment just to earn some extra euros. And honestly, I had no idea what I was doing. Budgeting taxes, invoices, every step felt scary. And the reason why I tell you this story is I acted anyway. You already know that willingness to act in fear is courage. And from those actions, I built competence. I can earn money. I'm not a poor person. And slowly, my fear response got quieter because my brain had proof. And at the same time, my activation system kicked in. I wasn't just surviving and struggling anymore. I was thriving, kind of. And that's why I see confidence as the result, not the starting point. You just need confidence. No. Willingness to act plus fear is courage. Courage practiced enough becomes competence, and competence finally creates confidence. The confidence to tackle bigger goals, bigger challenges. And all this evidence, in turn, overrides your old identity, overrides the emotional stories that you tell yourself. And that's how you step into the new identity. But here's the problem. Most people don't even get to the evidence part because they're waiting until they have the energy, until they have the motivation. I will work on my business when I'm less exhausted, maybe during the vacation. I can't go to the gym in the morning. I need my sleep. And the truth is, the energy is there. You're just wasting it. So yes, it might be that you really feel tired and exhausted. Then go to bed. But how does consuming Netflix and scrolling not require energy? Think about it. You know that one tiny action is enough. Open the document and read one sentence. Do some research for 3 minutes. Stretch on the sofa for 5 minutes. That is progress. And progress is what fuels your activation system, not waiting for energy to magically appear. Because energy is a byproduct of motion. And emotion is just emotion. Energy in motion. So when you put your body into motion, even with something tiny, your emotions will shift automatically. And here's the how. Micro habits, baby steps, tiny tweaks, however you want to call it. Small steps that add up to slow progress. I've been working out pretty much every day for the last 17 years. But before that, I couldn't stand doing sports. I was not an athletic person. But these 17 years started with 90 seconds. When I went to the university gym for the first time, the trainer told me that he'd only train me when I could hold a plank for 90 seconds. That might sound tiny to you, but it was a real challenge for me because I had zero core and arm strength. Then I did it. And he told me my next step is to do 3 sets of 10 shoulder presses with 8 kilograms. And I couldn't even lift 5. And this was especially hard because I was still into my eating disorder, the secret reason why I actually started going there. So too bad that I was always weak and hungry. But I managed that as well after some sessions. And only then he introduced me to the full plan using weights and machines. And after years of consistency, I became quite confident in the basics. So I challenged myself to do calisthenics, obstacle races, other sports. And with the support of therapy, I first adopted this strong is the new skinny mindset until I eventually healed my body dysmorphic disorder and my eating disorder. And now I still work out every day and I eat intuitively. I don't track. I know what my body needs to feel fit and dynamic. I'm confident that I'm keeping my body happy, sexy, healthy, and cute every day. And the big goal is to feel and look alive as long as I am alive. When I was employed, I woke up at 7 a.m. and went to the gym every day. I brought my own food for lunch. And some colleagues were triggered, but admitted that they are actually frustrated because they want to release weight, but they just can't do it. If I could maybe give some advice, start with 5 squats during lunch break. Huh? What? That's so little. That won't work for me. What are you talking about? That's not the case. That's not how the brain works. Your brain will feel the reward of completing an action no matter how small. And the smaller, the tinier you make it, the higher the possibility that you'll actually do it. Remember, we need this evidence first. And, well, they didn't do it. It's okay. It's fine for them. But if you too are thinking, what if I'm also too scared to even start these baby steps? Or thinking, honestly, I don't have the motivation to start at all. I don't believe you. I don't believe you are too scared or lazy to do 1 squat or read 1 page. I believe you are scared you won't follow through and disappoint yourself in the end. And here are 2 mistakes. Firstly, while I am suggesting 1 mini step, you're staring at the whole Mount Everest. And secondly, if you're already in fear while just looking at the mountain in the background, no wonder you freeze and tell yourself, even this 1 step is too much. So we talked about action a lot. Now let's talk about fear. Here's what I have learned. Fear means that your body is working properly. It's normal and healthy to not want to step into uncertainty. But unless your survival is at stake, you are not the victim of your emotions. The fear will always be strongest right before the breakthrough, right before the first tiny step. And here's the truth. To go through fear, you have to go through the fear. But you don't need to go alone. There are tools to help you. One of my most terrifying moments in life was quitting my job. Not the missing backup plan, but the act itself. I'll never forget it. I couldn't sleep at all that night. I was sitting at my work PC having an out-of-body experience. I'm hot, I'm cold, on the verge of crying. And I had written to my boss the day before that I want to talk. And while waiting, I hid in the bathroom, palms sweaty, heart racing. But I had my tools. So here's the thing. Your fear happens in the body and the brain. So you have to tackle both. In the bathroom, I shook my body. I jumped. I needed to let the tension leave. And then I did box breathing. In for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Out for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. And repeat. Also, the day before, I had written down the exact words I wanted to tell my boss. And I rehearsed them out loud several times. So I didn't need to think in the moment. Because fear makes your rational thinking go offline. So when he finally came, we went upstairs to talk. And I told him straight, I'm so nervous. I prepared notes that I want to read out. And I read them word for word, my voice shaking, my eyes crying, but I did it. And afterwards, I felt so relieved because I did something unimaginable for that version of me. Even though the fear was huge, my willingness to act, to get out of there was huger. And again, that's courage. You convince your brain that you are capable of doing scary things. You collect so much evidence that it would be unreasonable not to be confident. So here's another tool that I want you to use. Think of the thing you're most scared of right now. The one situation where you wished you had courage. Is it a hard conversation? Asking for a promotion, getting on stage, or sending this one message? Just hold it in your mind for now. While I tell you a story from the famous Indiana Jones of positive psychology, Robert Biswas-Diener, and his client, an actress. For this actress, going through auditions scared her tremendously. Blinding lights in her face, silence in the room, and everybody expecting the perfect performance. Every time she walked in, she was just terrified. And in the coaching session with Biswas-Diener, she cried. I love acting so much, but these auditions, they're so intimidating. I don't know what to do. It's so embarrassing. So what helps you in those situations? I guess support from friends. Interesting. Have you ever asked Lars for support? I don't think I know Lars. Who is he? Biswas-Diener reached into his pocket and pulled out a small action figure in jungle gear and a safari helmet. This is Lars. He travels with me everywhere I go. He was in the desert and in the jungle. He's not afraid of bears and snakes. And definitely not afraid of auditions. Here, take him. Keep him in your pocket. Thank you so much. The actress broke down crying, and she followed through. She carried Lars with her to auditions. And years later, she still kept him on his desk. And whenever she looked at Lars, she felt stronger. Now, make no mistake, we all know that Lars is just a piece of plastic. But humans are wired for magical thinking, especially under fear. That's why athletes have lucky socks, or that's why we cross our finger. It may not be illogical, but it works. And humans in all cultures do that. Because courage isn't just in your thoughts, it's in your body, it's in your rituals, it's in those little anchors that tell you, you can do this. And for me, my talisman is Uta from the anime One Piece, a singer who represents courageous self-expression to me. I have dozens of Uta figures, and I carry her with me all the time as a trading card in my smartphone case. And she reminds me to use my voice even when I'm scared and want to run away. That's my laugh. So what could be yours? A ring, a coin, a photo? Find something symbolic that reminds you of your courage. Don't dismiss it because it sounds childish for you. Maybe, like for me, it is a fictional character from one of your favorite shows. Tell me in the comments, please. I'm genuinely curious. And that's how I approach fear and courage in life. I'm not brave because I don't feel fear. I'm brave because I take action in the presence of fear. So now you've learned the formula. Courage first, competence next, then comes confidence. And now go. Do this one small, scary thing. Yes,